This fan dates from the 1780s. It is very fragile and it needs reinforcing in order to make it displayable. And it shows a musical scene with a statue of Cupid. Each of these leaves were originally reinforced with goat kid leather, but the leather has broken in many places, and so that has to be stabilised. Also, the guard and the final leaf have come apart, so they have to be put back together. The gore has got silver foils on it, and the silver foil is beginning to lift. You've then got what's called spangles, we call them sequins, that are decorating the fan, as well as the most beautifully worked hand chain stitch in a silver thread. And each one of these is broken slightly. There's some missing areas of silk here, and some missing areas of paper to the back, all of which have to be repaired. Documentation is extremely important in conservation because we have to be sure that what we do is ethically correct. I'm going to be re-adhering the sequins with something called Lascaux, which is an acrylic adhesive that is reversible, and reversibility is extremely important because we don't want to do anything that is permanent. In order to be able to then, if anything is necessary, we can actually take it off again. So I've got the spangles here which have to be re-adhered, and they come from this area. So the two sequins that I'm going to put back on are here and here. You can see the little holes where the stitching was, and also there's a tiny little bit of thread here, so that we know that that's exactly where they were. So Lascaux is an adhesive that's water soluble. Fans were handheld works of art and required up to 15 to 20 people in order to be able to fashion them up. And each person had a particular job. So the person who was doing the painting wasn't allowed to do the actual silver foils, and then somebody else who was doing the spangles wasn't allowed to do the painting. And so it was a very intricate piece of art. Whilst we're gluing the sequins, it would be good to talk about this exquisite work here. This is chain stitch in a metallic thread. It would have been all done by hand. We know that because the sewing machine wasn't invented. And have a look at the way in which it outlines the flower and the leaves. It's just beautifully done. So I'm now going to re-adhere the foils with the Lascaux glue that I used for the sequins. The foils would have originally been this colour, they would have been silver. They've obviously tarnished over time, which is the reason why you can see them as being black. So Marie Antoinette would have had a lot of bling on her fans. And also she was given a diamond encrusted fan as well. I'm using a porcupine quill to stick it down with. It's just got a very fine point. And then a slightly blunter one. Just remove the excess adhesive. You can see it. Ridiculously fiddly. I'm using wheat starch paste in order to be able to adhere down the little bit that is lifting.
I'm just leaving it soften up a bit. It's just being a bit reticent. Okay, I'm going to weight that down in a minute.
So this is a silk organza.
So I'm just going to place it in position. And then
I'm using silk to match the silk of the front panel so it doesn't show. So Isinglass is a fish glue that I'm using it like a bit like pre-glued strip. It just means that I can manipulate a little bit more the piece. Trying to glue it and get it in position is almost impossible, and so I'm helping myself by having it pre-glued. Just want to make sure that this edge is sticking down because it looks as if it's lifting slightly. Right, so this needs weighting in place. So now this is dried for about 10 minutes. I'm just going to check it. We might have to make adjustments, but let's see. That looks good. Yeah, that looks good. Amazing. Okay. So now I'm just going to do some in-painting using watercolour on top of my silk patch. I can't tell exactly what the rocks are doing there, so I'm just going to choose a sort of a colour that blends it away a bit with the watercolour I've got here. It might need a little bit more brown. I'm going to give it a light undercoat first, just to give myself a basis of colour, and then work up. So I have paper here which I'm going to be using to reinforce every single leaf all the way through so that I can then turn the fan over and then start working from the front of the fan because I have a stable back. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tone a piece of Japanese paper, a similar colour to this leaf here because this is what's going to be repaired. We use Japanese paper because it has a long fibre and it means that we can use the paper very thin and it doesn't bulk up the actual folds when the fan comes to be folded back up again. So when this is dry, I'm going to cut a small strip that can actually support this little area here and create a hinge here so that it can go on underneath the guard and then pull the two together. Not bad, eh? So I'm just going to cut a repair strip out of my paper and I'm using an awl just to give myself a line so I can... So it gives me an uncut edge, but an edge that's not too fibrous. If you can see. And I'm tearing against the grain. So now we've got the coloured piece, I'm going to turn this over to repair this area. So let's just keep it under control. Just means it's flatter and I can get to it a bit better. Okay, right. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this coloured piece of paper
and I'm just going to attach it all the way down here. Now I know it's not the colour of the actual back paper, we will sort that out later. I'm interested in the front at the moment, so just going to get some wheat starch paste. So this is a felt strip. I like felt strips because they allow a bit of breathing. Let's take a slightly heavier weight because it's flat, so it's not a problem. Okay. I think we can make it even heavier. There we go. This will take about 10 minutes to dry, I should think. So I'm now going to take the weight off and have a look at the hinge and the repair. Trim this a fraction. Get that out of the way. Fans were not just beautiful, elegant objects. They had a function within court etiquette as a form of communication. Within the court of Marie Antoinette, if she decided that she was going to keep her fan closed, nobody within the court was able to then open a fan leaf because then it would be considered just breaking that etiquette. So the fan is finished and all the paper repairs have been completed to the back. So I've repaired every leaf with a toned Japanese paper, as you can see. And then there are some little infill places here. where the creases had been cracked. You can see the creases continuing on here, but they're stable. There are some infills here and some repairs here. And then on the other side, so there are 2 pieces of gold paper here that have been replaced. It's just to complete the arc all the way around. Each of the leaves here has been stuck down. If you remember, there was a goat kid leather in between, and so the leaves are now stuck to that, so it's behaving as it should do. There's been some retouching around the Cupid, because that's the main figure within this fan. This is where the guard and the leaf were separated, and this has been repaired with a toned Japanese tissue. This is one of over 300 fans that we have in the museum. It's been amazing to work on it, and I do feel as if I've made a difference to the collection, which is always nice. And now this is ready for display. It will look great.